Hi, welcome to Freelance Client Secrets. I'm looking forward to helping you get started with freelancing and finding projects with clients. The first module is the Quick Start Guide, and in this module I want to go over all the basic things you need to get set up and get started quickly. This video goes over how to pick a freelance network to get started on. In this module, we will be covering what you need to get started in just a few days, how to pick and evaluate the profitability of your niche, how to set up your profile for maximum effectiveness, tips for bidding on your first projects, and steps you need to take to make sure you get the right projects and clients. In this video, I'm going to go over what you need to get started in just a few days, how to pick and evaluate the profitability of your niche, and picking a job network to get started on. The first step is to generate niche ideas. Basically, you want to decide on a general specialty like writing, coding, web design, etc. And then you want to pick a niche within that specialty. You want to pick a niche that's big enough to find enough regular ongoing work, but small enough that you might have a competitive edge over other people out there. So for now, you want to brainstorm your strengths. Get a pencil and paper and start writing down all the skills that you're good at and all the topics that you're knowledgeable in. Don't rule anything out right now because we're just brainstorming. You also want to list your interests, and these include skills that you aren't good at yet and topics that you aren't knowledgeable about yet, but would be willing to spend some time learning. So here's a list of some possible fields to go into, and I just basically listed a bunch of things that I thought of off the top of my head, and some of those things are SEO, social media marketing, e-commerce, conversion optimization, writing, graphic design, web development, management, admin stuff like data entry and customer service, and sales. It's not comprehensive, so there could be many more, so feel free to include anything you think of when you're brainstorming. I think things like writing, graphic design, and programming are some of the popular choices for high-paying work. So here's an example of a brainstorm list that I did, and I picked writer since it's something that most people can do. When brainstorming niches, you want to think about all the possible things that clients might be looking for. And if you're not sure, then search online on a job network site like Elance or even Monster.com. In this particular example, I listed some specialties that I could work in, including copywriting, press release writing, blogging, resume writing, ebook writer, or article writer. And some of the topics that I'm knowledgeable in include small business, marketing, SEO and social media, outsourcing, video games, and productivity. And of course, your list will look different than mine. So just write down all the topics that you can think of and all the specialties that you might want to pursue. So step 2 is to pick your niche. And you don't have to pick just one, but try to pick one main one to focus on. So for example, from the previous list, I would probably stick to just one specialty like copywriting, for example, because each of the specialties that I listed in the previous slide should have enough volume. As far as topics though, I can pick a few of them because a lot of topics I listed are related to online marketing or small business. So those are kind of like sub-niches that I can target when the opportunity arises. Next, you want to do a search on a site like Elance to see what kind of volume is available. When I started on Elance, I searched for WordPress, and there were at least a page of projects listed each day. So it was a good specialty to start with. Sometimes you'll see less volume for certain searches, like when I search for real estate websites, for example. So something like that might not be a good main niche, but it can be something that I can target as a subspecialty. The third step is to pick a site to start on. You want to pick a site that has enough jobs for your selected discipline. If you don't know where to start, then I would just go with Elance since they are the best general project network site. So why Elance? I recommend Elance for most people because they have a good variety of jobs and seem to offer better paying work than some other sites. They also have the best functionality and a good volume of projects being posted. Their paid memberships cost more than some other sites, but this is actually good because it limits the amount of offshore competition to some degree. The escrow payment system is great for both freelancers and clients. The client can submit payment into escrow and release it when work is completed to their satisfaction. It's also good for freelancers too because they know that the project is funded and they can request release when the job or milestone is complete. Just as an example, I posted a design project recently on Elance and Odesk for $70, which was pretty low for what was being asked. I only got a few offshore people reply on Elance and about a dozen on Odesk. So it actually does make a difference which sites you look for work on. It's free to bid on Odesk, you just have to take a bunch of tests. But if you want to play it safe, then I would just start with Elance. So now I'm going to go over how I evaluate job network sites. The first thing I do is search for contractors on these sites, if that feature is available, and see if there are other high-paid freelancers in your niche or specialty. Filter by country too if that feature is available, so in my case, I would filter it to only view US freelancers. If there are some of these people there, then that's usually a good sign. Also, some people might be inclined to try out certain project networks because the fees are lower. Elance is the most expensive for their paid memberships as far as I know, but the good thing is that it makes it harder for competitors to join, especially for people who aren't willing to invest in their own business. This is also better for clients sometimes because it is less applications that they have to weed through. And since it attracts a good amount of native US workers, this in turn also attracts good employers from the US. Here's an example of a search I did on Elance for Blogger. You can see earnings for some people if they choose to leave that info public, and you can also see things like hourly rate and number of jobs. On Elance, you can choose to show or hide some of this information. You can also click on their jobs to see more details about the projects they're actually getting. So that's basically how you evaluate a job site and niche for profitability. After you sign up, you need to set up your profile. A good tip is to read what other people in your niche are writing just to see how they're trying to sell themselves. You should also look at what copywriters and salespeople are writing in their profiles because I found that their profile descriptions are usually better than profiles from other disciplines, which kind of makes sense because that's what they're supposed to be good at. You can then model your profile writing accordingly. So that's the end of video 1, and in the next video, I'm going to talk more about setting up your profile.